one, with Transformers 1 opening this weekend and looking on its way to number one, and also me getting my flu shots as well. Oh, I thought I would talk about how the previous animated film in the franchise, though not the way to expect. Do not worry, I intend to do like a full proper review as something of a retrospective of the entire franchise, though I'm really not caught up on the work yet, especially with this recent notification out this morning that I've seen on Community Tab. So with that in mind, let's talk about 1986's The Transformers the movie in its Japanese subtitle version helps celebrate 40 years of the franchise. So let's begin. While I have seen this movie before, many times, in fact, what was that uploading here, in fact? This is the first time I'm seeing its Japanese dub. This is why I'm telling it just thoughts as opposed to who first viewing thoughts. I mean, it uses like the UK dub as a base. Was the one that had like the quasi Star Wars text crawl at the opening, and which also makes sense given how a lot of parallels to the original trilogy, A New Hope in particular. And whenever people at the time were critiquing it for that purpose, I would respond, "What's wrong with that?" And all things considered, it's definitely a an interesting experience watching the movie in this dub. It may be a bit more talky than in the American one was in parts. And I'm not the most familiar with how the Japanese canon and reflects the characters compared to the American one. I've mainly looked up stuff on tfwiki.net. Very useful, and also very amusing as well whenever I'm a piece of information I'm not entirely familiar with. But it's definitely an interesting way of celebrating 40 years of the franchise as well, especially the impact it's had. And while it was the first time that Optimus sacrificed himself, would not be the last. And I'm not certain about what to feel about Cyberverse. No, not Cyberverse. Earthsparks, I've not seen it, at least not all of it. But I think it has more to do with the merges, and much like the many members of the original cast getting scrapped, the motivating factor was sorry for this profit to be had. And with that subject, while the new characters at the time definitely had quite the sizable discourse behind them, one in particular her definitely was contention, at least initially, that being Hot Rod. I have spoken quite openly that he's actually my favorite Autobots and has been for quite a long time. And to tie in Star Wars parallels, as I sometimes do, he's basically like the Luke of this story, where he's like a younger, less experienced character, but is also destined for greatness in sorts. In fact, if what I'm hearing about the next live action and film is true, I would very much like to see John Nelson reprise his role. Heck, even Transformers Anime brought him back in the 2000s, so it's not totally implausible. And the voice acting on the whole is actually quite solid on this version, I would say. Hey, and though I'm not familiar with every single actor here in the Japanese dub, it definitely has some very effective work and how they manage to make the characters their and even finding ways of translating bits that might not have gone over well or came across as the same way in Japan, where so it can go both ways. the same process as like dubbing a Japanese anime here for the US, where if you can't get across the letter of the words, my best translation is go for the spirits, which can capture the same meaning if you can't, if you not cannot go for the same wording. So yeah, I'd say this version is also quite entertaining, and you'll definitely see more of my thoughts on the '86 movie as a multi-part look at the original Transformers. I mean, on my rewatch of the original show, I'm currently on Heavy Metal War, which I managed to find a comparison of the broadcast master, her, the DVD releases from Rhino, which didn't turn out so good, the one from Shout, which turned out great, and a lesser known one from the company Maverick, I mean, which has branches in the UK as well as Australia, though I'm not sure it's still around. That will be all for now, and I will see you all again soon with my look at the highly anticipated Transformers 1 till all are one.